At 6 p.m. Oh, yes. Welcome to the City of Greenfield Planning Commission meeting. I will call the meeting to order. May we have roll call, please?
Chair Garcia,
Here.
Vice Chair Urquidez,
Here.
Commissioner Zavala.
Here.
Commissioner Gallardo. And Commissioner Mendoza.
Here.
Okay, I was informed that Commissioner Gallardo might be late or may not show up due to a family situation. So at this point, I'll entertain a motion to excuse, subject to recall if he comes in.
I make a motion to excuse him.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Let's all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we are on D, public comments from the audience regarding items not on the agenda. Do we have any public comments at this time? Come on in. Were there any emails or hands raised?
No.
Okay. We will move on to the, oh, good.
Uh,
Jesse Singh, please go ahead.
Are they unmuted?
Can you unmute? Jesse?
Okay,
Singh?
can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, sorry about that. My name is Jesse. I'm the owner of El Rey Market, and just want to make sure that you guys received any emails that I sent you guys yesterday with a bunch of letters of objection.
I'm sorry,
Or-
this is an item on the agenda. This is for comments not on the agenda.
Yes.
Oh, these are the comments. Okay, I'm so sorry. It was because you guys asked for any emails and somebody replied no.
Yes,
So I just want to
that
make
was,
sure.
that was for general public comments. And
Okay.
I can confirm that we did receive your email and your item will be discussed under public hearings, item G, so in a few minutes.
Okay. I'm so sorry about it. Thank you.
No worries, no worries. Thank you.
Mm.
Any other public comments for items not on the agenda? Okay, so we can move on to consent agenda. Adoption of February 4, 2025 Planning Commission meeting minutes. We have a motion from Commissioner Arquitez to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we can now move on to business items. We have one item under this, Planning Commission bylaws. Their staff report.
Good evening, Chair Garcia and Planning Commissioners. Tonight's item is just approving or reviewing and approving the suggested changes that you made to the bylaws at the last meeting. I'd be happy to go through those if you'd like, or if you prefer, you can just ask questions about any of the changes, but you have a red line version of the bylaws in your packet.
It was a pretty thorough review at our previous meeting, line by line. So are there any, do you guys have any initial questions before I open up public comment? I'll go ahead and open up public comment on this. This is the review and approval of amended Planning Commission bylaws. Public comments. All right, we'll close public comment. Bring it back to the commission for discussion.
I was able to review and I think it looked okay based on the meeting from our meeting, and then I also attended the city council meeting where this was discussed, and I don't have anything else to add or any questions.
Commissioner Mendoza,
No question.
Vice Chair Akitas.
No.
I think it reflects everything we discussed. I was just wondering if we should put in the deadline that was mentioned at the city council meeting for a letter of consideration in our bylaws.
We could do that, that your bylaws don't actually address those issues that were discussed at council. Those are all in the municipal code. So rather than creating those or putting those same rules in two different places, we just opted to leave the bylaws as they are, and then change the municipal code. But they could, of course, be in both places.
I think it might be helpful because we never really know when our terms expire until it's like expiring.
Yeah.
And I think a little direction and a deadline to reapply is a good thing for us to. It's 3.
So the next step, so would you like to see these again before they go to council for approval?
I would. That's necessary.
Okay, so we can add the reappointment language, or really just the whole process that we discussed at
Say that
council.
we're, you know, I just think it's important if there is a November 15th deadline
Mhm.
that it.
Okay. So for your motion, I would just recommend that you include that additional change to the bylaws in your motion.
Somebody want to take a crack at that?
The recommendation on the,
Adding the deadline to submit a
I moved to
A letter of
approve,
reinstatement.
the revised bylaws, adding the November 15th deadline.
for a second.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you so much. Okay, now we can move on to G, public hearing. We have one public hearing this evening. It is the consideration of a resolution approving a design review for a mixed-use building at 201 El Camino Real, assessors parcel number 024-033-013. Do we have a staff?
Good evening, Commissioners. And then if we could just get the PowerPoint shared. Thank you. Today's project is a design review for an existing mixed-use building at 201 El Camino Real. Little project information. As noted, the project is located in the center of our downtown at 201 ECR. It's an existing building and it's zoned for retail, business, commercial with a mixed-use overlay. This overlay allows for mixes of residential and commercial within the same building. The project applicant and property owner is Mustafa Shayef, and the architect is Ed Reinhardt. So this is probably a building you're all familiar with. This is the Byard Building, one of the older buildings in our town. Under the previous ownership, the property fell into a state of disrepair and was subject to numerous code enforcement violations throughout the years. This ranged from lack of fire sprinklers and fire detection systems, water damage, compromised structural integrity, including unsafe stairs and damaged hallways, and pest infestations. The city tried to work with the property owner to remedy these issues, but was not successful, and ultimately the building was sold at auction to the new property owner, Mr. Shayef. Mr. Shayef's intention is to rehabilitate the currently abandoned building as a mixed-use project. This reestablishes the previous mixed use of a market on the ground level and apartment units on the second level. This is within an approximately 10,000 square foot lot. The market on the ground level is 3,789 square feet, and the upstairs is 3,770 square feet for apartment space. 2 of these are 1-bedroom apartments with 1 bathroom, and 2 of them are 2 bedrooms with 2 bathrooms. So the site plan, which is included as a full plan set in your packet, shows the existing building with the existing layout, including the rear part as a parking lot. It provides 8 parking spaces, although it's important to note that our zoning code requires 18. It requires 1 parking space for 1-bedroom apartments, 2 for 2-bedroom apartments, and 3 for every 1,000 square feet of commercial space, resulting in 18 required spaces. The site coverage is 37% and the landscape coverage is around 6%. The floor plan shows the proposed market, which includes primarily a sales area, a meat department, a restroom, an office, and the counter cashier space, and a refrigerator for refrigerated goods. The second level floor plan shows the 4 apartment units. Units 1 and 2 are 1-bedroom units, and units 3 and 4 are 2-bedroom units. So here are the elevations. As you'll know, it's not too different from the existing exterior finishes. The color has a slight change from a green as the primary color to a more beige color, and the trim is green with the black stone and the windows. So everything's intended to stay as is. And this is the front elevation, just shows us the primary entrance fronting El Camino. The rear, so these are the side elevations. It shows us if you look at the top one, the far left, that's the entrance intended for the residents and only for them, so it won't be accessible to the public. And you'll note the Finn sign, that's the current sign. The applicant intends to keep it and restore it and of course upgrade it with its relevant lettering. The landscape plan, the landscape is limited to the parking lot through the perimeter. There's current landscaping that some of it has been maintained, such as the trees along Oak Avenue, but the rest will need to be rehabilitated. One important thing to consider, as mentioned, the zoning code requires 18 parking spaces, and only 8 are provided, but the zoning code also gives the planning commission the authority to reduce the number of required spaces. So that is up to your discretion. Some things to consider is that the applicant is working obviously within an existing footprint, so what they can do for additional parking is limited. Another thing is that the building is located in our downtown core. Development in this area typically is intended to be pedestrian-oriented, close proximity to transit to encourage walkability. So that's one big thing to consider. And a final thing is that a condition of approval for the applicant is to remove the driveway approach on Oak Avenue and sidewalk curb gutter. And this will result in new striping for diagonal parking along Oak Avenue. So that'll be upwards of 4 or 5 new spaces. The project is exempt from further SEQA review due to the Class 1 categorical exemption for existing facilities. And once the public hearing is completed and the Planning Commission's completed deliberations, we recommend that you adopt this resolution to approve a design review for a mixed-use project, including a market and 4 apartment units at 201 El Camino. That concludes my staff report, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
For that staff report. Do you have any initial comments before we open? Public hearing? All right, we'll open up the public hearing on this. The applicant here would like to.
Can I speak?
Please.
Okay.
I will start the 3-minute timer.
My name is Gary Chawan, and I'm in Tilbury Market there. So this market is going to affect our business less than a mile away from our store. And approximately there are like 9 or 10 stores, like the small business stores within a mile. So this business is gonna definitely affect our revenue. Probably he's gonna survive or we're gonna survive. If he's gonna come, we're gonna go out of business. So that's what my concern is.
And which one is yours?
8851 Oak Avenue, Delaware Market.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think there are 9 or 10 other stores, they already signed the petition, and we already submitted to the office for the review.
Thank you.
Thank you.
¿Todos hablan español?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Oh,
Yeah, either one of us
¿O
can
alguien puede
translate.
traducir?
Si tiene alguien para traducir para usted ahorita, es permitido, si no lo puedo hacer yo. Okay, sí, claro. I'll translate
I'll start the
for you.
timer.
Yo vengo de la barata, no sé el proyecto que están presentando, pero yo estoy casi al lado de donde van a hacer el proyecto. Pues si van a aprobarlo para una market, pues yo tengo la market ahí también. No se me hace como, pues no se me hace como justo si lo aprueban porque yo estoy al lado.
Okay, I'm going to summarize that. He's here representing La Barata. He's located almost directly next to it. He doesn't feel it's fair to approve because he's directly adjacent to the property.
Pues sí lo pueden aprobar, pero puede ser como, no sé si hay alguna ley o algo de que sea un poco más retirado, porque nomás nos divide un solo negocio.
He feels that you can go ahead and approve, but he's not sure if there's rules against certain distancing requirements for the same types of businesses.
Y pues nomás no sé si puedan tomar eso en cuenta, pero pues en realidad que toman las decisiones pues son ustedes, pero si pueden tomar eso en cuenta, de que pues yo estoy ahí, pues ahí, pues al poner otro ahí, pues seríamos mucho negocio de la misma cosa en la misma cuadra.
Yes, he's hoping you will take proximity into consideration since there is a bit of markets in that area alone.
Y sería todo, gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Gracias.
much. Any other public comments?
Yes, we have PK and Jesse Singh.
Let me see, in chambers, do you guys have any public comments before we go to the Zoom?
And then, I'm sorry,
Sorry, for the record, the letters, 6 letters opposing the objection of the 201 was sent through email along with the meeting minutes, and the copies are also provided to you guys as well.
All right, we'll hear from PK. Could you unmute? Welcome, PK. You can-
Hi, my name is Jay, and I'm a co-owner of El Rey Market, 851 Oak Avenue. And my concern is that, with this economy, we are already very, very slow. And, with this coming up business, looks like I'm not going to be able to afford my employees, and they're going to be ran out of the jobs. And with this market, and it's going to hurt, not just my business and the other small businesses around here in this town. So it's up to you guys. It's a humble request. If it's going to come, the other business going to hurt very badly. And, looks like I couldn't able to afford my employees with that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Singh, you can go ahead.
Yes, committee, good evening. My name is, as I said, my name is Jesse. I'm a co-owner of El Rey Market. But my concern is the same. I just want to add a few more things to my partner's comments. Is that having this size of a market next to a bunch of other small businesses, you guys gonna establish one business, but most probably what's gonna happen is that other business is gonna go out of business. And I mean, if looking at this Greenfield demographics, we don't have much of a population there anyways. I mean, I don't know how many grocery stores do we need in that area. And tendency of this owner is, I know this owner not personally, but I hear a lot of things about him, that he owns a bunch of other markets. And every time he opens up his new business, what he does is that he just puts everything to cost sale model, where he's just gonna sell everything dirt cheap, and his main goal is gonna be pull all the customers into his store and putting all the others, the small businesses, out of business. So this is not gonna be good for us. We employ about like 8 to 9 employees. And look at La Barata. La Barata is a little family-owned little store. And I can assure you that the first business gonna go out is them. And next we're gonna get hurt, and other business gonna get hurt as well. If you guys approve this market to open up. That's all for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other public comments? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Move on to commissioner comments. Just before we do that, the applicant is not here.
No, I don't believe it.
All right, so planning commission discussion and decision. Anybody want to start?
I can, yeah. I have a few questions. We're essentially approving the building design and the use, is that correct? So two different things in one, or two different items in one, is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
correct.
Does the city take into consideration what they're going to use the building for? Or is it just because it's zoned commercial or whatever it may be zoned, it's allowed to be whatever it wants to be per owner?
Yeah, typically if it's a permitted use, we process the application and bring it before you just because it is permitted. So our zoning code does allow for the market, the commercial use.
I was hoping that the owner would be here. I mean, I don't know if they did the due diligence on, seeing what's out there and what's not. I mean, I don't know if that's any of our concern or not. It's just, okay, so that's what I have for now.
I have a question on that. When Buyers was in there and there was a market there, did it affect El Rey and these other businesses nearby at that time? And why would it affect it now?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I can speak to that. But I'm sure it will increase competition for the neighboring businesses, as does development typically do.
I wish the owner, or the applicant was here. Maybe next month we could get him here. Discuss this more.
Sorry, are these questions that we're allowed to ask as far as use goes, or is that something that doesn't pertain to us? Yes, we are allowed.
Yeah, you can ask those questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So I have a few questions. How many parking spaces did you say?
8.
8.
Yes.
I heard 8.
Sorry, 18 required and 8 provided.
Okay, did you say that's going to be in the back?
Yes, the rear, just abutting the alley next to Oak Avenue.
Are there any parking spaces there now?
On Oak Avenue?
Yes.
Or
Behind the building?
behind the building? Yes, it needs to be restriped, but the lot is configured for 8 parking spaces.
How long has it been vacant?
I think last I heard since 2019 at least. I could be wrong, but more than 5 years.
And then the previous market, did they do any changes to the building?
That I don't know about the previous owner.
If I say I'm just concerned with the 4 units, I think I can't picture 4 units up there. I wish the applicant was here, so, because I do have some questions about him, but my only concern is the 4 units up there, given that there's just not a lot of parking space.
Yeah. Yeah, and typically that would be outside of the range that the city permits, but since it's a legally non-conforming structure and they're not building outside of the existing footprint, it's allowed to remain as is.
I mean, I do like that they're trying to keep the original, layout and color. I like that. Is this a historic building?
I think it's meaningful and historic maybe to us, but it's not officially listed on any California State Historic Resources list.
You know that for sure.
Yeah, I tried to look for somewhere that it could be listed and I found none, so.
Yeah, so we're here to discuss the design review, not approve, what, the applicant wants to do there. So I'm just glad that it looks similar to what it was before. I'm big on keeping, especially, I want to say it is a historic building. And if it's not, it should be. But I like that they try to keep it original. So that's it.
Okay, I have a few questions. So we're short 10 parking spaces and it's our discretion to say whether that's okay or not. And if we say that's not okay, then what?
Then based on that finding, I think you can deny the project.
Okay. And also I want to thank all the neighboring businesses. We did receive all your letters of concern. And I'm wondering, is there I know that when we issue ABC licenses, there's a saturation component. Is with, having this many markets in a small area, would that constitute a saturation issue? Is there a study that the owner did to see what would work best in that area, given the existing businesses that are there now? I know you can't speak for them because they're not here, but
Yeah, in terms of saturation, because like you mentioned for the liquor licenses, it's a little different, but I don't believe we have anything, and I could be wrong. I don't think there's anything in our code that sort of discusses that, an oversaturation of a certain type of business, besides obviously the liquor licenses.
okay, and yeah, it's saturation and distancing for the businesses. Is that anything that our code addresses or legally that can be studied and looked into?
I don't know if that's in your code off the top of my head. It doesn't sound like it. It sounds like Evelyn and Paul would want to speak to that before, but it can certainly be studied and added to your code, but it's not there now.
Okay. And I was a little concerned too with one of the letters that indicated that the city said 4 units was acceptable, or it was represented that that was said, and that wasn't actually the case. And I looked at the plans too, as far as the sprinklers, and I don't see them. It says none.
Yeah, fire sprinklers will definitely be required, and this is typically enforced during the building permit process. So our building official will make sure to enforce the fire sprinkler requirement.
Yeah, that's because what I do is when I get my agendas, I download them and then I do a search. And I did a search for sprinklers and it just said none.
Yeah, and we definitely made
And
it clear to the
wasn't in the
applicant.
conditions either, so.
No, but since it's a part of the building code, the building official has full discretion to make this a requirement before they can greenlight the building.
Okay. And yeah, I think that I'd like us to have a full commission here to, see Mr. Gallardo, he's a very local person. I'm wondering, since the applicant didn't show up, if we could table this for our next meeting.
Yeah, I think it's within your, I think, to continue this
How
item.
do you guys feel about that? Or do you want to move forward?
I wouldn't want to move forward. One more question that I had while you were speaking is, since this is a 2-part deal, are we able to approve the mixed use part of it and not approve the market part of it, or does that have to come together?
Would probably have to come together because that represents, I think, the scope of what the applicant's applying for. And since the market is the permitted use as well. But I'm sure having the applicant here to discuss with you all would be helpful and ease any concerns you might have.
Yeah, I am concerned about the parking, because especially if you're adding 4 units, those are people that live there with their cars that are gonna be there every day.
Right.
And that is gonna take away from the street parking. And so I don't know, I'm a little concerned of reducing it by 10 spaces.
Yeah, my concern would be the saturation, right, of markets, right? It's just, we can't obviously say we need some different, right? But I think that would be my concern there.
I think we should do this to the meeting and hopefully go to the commission here and the applicant here to answer some of our questions. Yeah.
Okay.
Make a motion to turn the ball. If you want to continue the meeting, I recommend continuing it to a date certain of April 1st, so that the staff doesn't have to notice the item. So if you just make sure to include the date certain of April 1st in your motion. Is there a mistake? I think so.
Yes.
So I move that we continue this item to our April 1st planning commission meeting.
We have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We can move on to H, other business, February department update.
It's me again. Good evening. So I don't have too much of a staff report for you. This is just a monthly report that our staff has put together, and we intend to provide these for you on a monthly basis. This is a little different than the major projects report, and this is more so reporting on staff activities. So it's definitely not an exhaustive list of the work we do, but it does include some information on our permitting, our inspections, the fees we collect, and some advanced planning projects. So we want to provide these to you on a monthly basis just for your review. But if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
So we have 82 inspections, 52 applications processed, 25 building permits issued. That's just for February.
Yes, and this includes all types of permits, so including our over-the-counter permits. So not just our ADUs, but any over-the-counter permit as well.
This is awesome. And these impact fees?
Yeah, so the impact fees aren't, every month doesn't have impact fees, so this was one of those months, since those typically come from the larger projects. And like, our ADUs are exempt from most impact fees, most ADUs are exempt from them. So since that's a big part of our processing, this month was no impact fees.
Does have any questions or comments on this item?
No, thank you for this.
Yeah.
It's page 68. Tiny.
Of course. No, this is good for stuff as well, to collect this data and to have time to reflect. So we'll have this for you monthly.
So this total valuation of building permits at 3.6 million and change. That's the valuation of the buildings, right? Not the money that's coming to
Yes.
us because we gave them a permit.
I wish, yeah, no, this is the valuation of the buildings.
You have any questions or comments on this? Okay, great. All right, thank you so much.
Great, thank you.
We'll move on to comments from planning commission and staff. This is the time on the agenda for planning commissioners and staff to make brief comments about items within the subject matter jurisdiction of the planning commission. Anybody want to start? I'll say thank you for the business cards. And thank you for the enrolling us in the planning commissioner academy that we're all going up to tomorrow. We'll do our best to represent Greenfield well. And that's all I have. Anybody else? All right, with that.
I just wanted to say that Chester Chicken is finally open.
It's pretty good too. It's not, it's pretty good.
It is. It's just that the issue I had with them yesterday was that the lady didn't speak English and she didn't know what I wanted to order and stuff, so I had to go talk to the manager. He told me what the prices were and stuff like that. So, but otherwise, yeah, it's good chicken. A week ago.
Do you guys have anything you want to say? No? All right, we'll adjourn at 6:37.